to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today is a sponsored show. It is sponsored by the Interior Design Standard, my good friend Sandra Funk, the principal of House of Funk. And you know that Sandra has been on the podcast, episodes 2, 145, 520, and 585. And each time, Sandra's shows are some of the most listened to shows, and the shows that I get some of the most feedback about as just an eye-opening nugget, something that she says from her experience in running her own firm these 15, 16 years now, that always inspires someone listening. You possibly, maybe you listening, were one of those people that has sent me an email or a DM about one of Sandra's shows. And of course, Sandra has come out with the Interior Design Standard. Episode 585 and 520, we spent some good time talking about the Interior Design Standard, but there's always something else. And today's sponsored episode, Sandra wants to talk about leveling up your business, not just through courses like the Interior Design Standard, but other ways that she has experienced that leveling up for herself, and also now how she pays it forward in the industry. So I hope that you will get that other nugget that you always get from the Sandra Funk show. So Sandra, welcome to A Well-Designed Business for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th time.
Thank you so much, Luann, for having me. It is always an honor to be here.
Well, I just love our conversations, both on air, off air, and every which way. I just have always been impressed by your the legitimate thoughtfulness and intention that you go to running your firm, every aspect of your firm, to the way you hire and manage your employees, the way you structure your team meetings, the accountability within the team, and then, of course, the way you run your projects and the way you handle us, your vendors and trades. And it's, this is all the goodness of the Interior Design Standard all rolled up into one. And I just think it's a remarkable thing. I will shout it to the heavens. I have many designers have reported to me that they've been through the course. And I'm curious, now this is the 3rd launch of the course coming up April 21st through April 28th, right?
That's right. Number 3.
All right. What are your observations? What are the things that you want to share with us about it today?
Well, I think so. The real reason I pitched this show, really talking about leveling up your business through mentors, experts, and of course, courses or templates like the standard. But one of my biggest aha moments of the year was during Luann Live. And I was kind of letting the event wash over me, as Luann events tend to do, and just changing my whole psyche. If you just spend enough time in your presence, like, things finally sink in. But you always say it, and you're so right, that you hear things when you're ready to hear them. And it's not that I didn't know, but the big takeaway for me was that I too needed to hire experts in their superpower to move my business forward. And it was such just a big moment of, I've been doing, my marketing and my social media in-house. I've been doing our hiring in-house. I've been doing, right? A lot of that stuff that we handle in-house, we are not experts at. There is someone out there who can do it better than we can. So it just kind of flipped the switch for me to saying, that's my next big level up. And I'm always interested in that next level up, right? It's like, I'm just not going to sit still. And similar, like doing the mastermind with you, working with Eileen to do HR at a completely different level, to do our hiring process, like way up leveled with her kit to hire. Just all of those experiences. And it was in the middle of Luann Live when I was like, head smack, everything. Everything is a superpower, and everything gets outsourced to the very best. And then you just watch your firm change from the
Yes.
outside in.
It's interesting because I didn't know that you were going to say that. We didn't really we did have 15 minutes to talk before, but of course we talked personal stuff. We didn't talk about what the show was going to be. I'm like, let's just go and we'll see what you say. Okay. But it's, what I love about that is I wish I could remember, because during Luann Live, in the aha moments, you were mentioned a couple of times. Maybe you'll remember what somebody mentioned as their aha that they learned from you. And I did receive specific feedback on the evaluation things that we send out afterwards. What did you think? What did you like? What did you learn? And you were mentioned a couple of times. And what I love about this is, here you are, a seasoned designer, somebody that we all look up to teach us business, and you're at the same event and you have an aha up-level moment.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And if you're not having aha up-level moments, you're broken. Like, what are you doing?
Okay.
There's so much value out there, right? And we're not an expert in everything, no matter how much we have again, I have my little superpowers, right? I have those things that I just have locked down, but there's other things that I can start to hand over to someone who does them better than I do them too.
Yeah.
And same thing with going to conferences. Like, it doesn't matter if you're one of the speakers, you should also be taking it all in. Such a gift to be able to be there. So absolutely.
Well, and it's funny because I did have several seasoned designers, message me one way or another, smoke signal, and say, this many years experience, is it worth it for me to be at Luann Live? Right. And I answered, the way you did. I said, look, I've been a window treatment professional for 40 years. I'm not missing an IWCE expo. Do I think I'm going to go in there and literally come away with notebooks filled the way I did 25 years ago? No, but my criteria is one great idea, like you're just talking about, the one great idea that really just changes your business or changes an aspect or opens your brain and opens your mind. And so I am so glad. And so the thing is, so you have this aha moment at Luann Live, and then from there, what happens? Of course, that we're talking about it in relation to, if the interior design standard is the thing for you to upper level your business, well, then that's great. But for you took it to going with Eileen Hahn as a professional recruiter. What else did you do in your business, or are you planning to do in your business?
Sure. So we are in talks with social media companies that handle all of that, and it's, it would still be my voice, and it would still be like art directing it, but not doing it in-house, and freeing up space and time for us to do the humongous list of things that we have dreamed and schemed over the years that we can't seem to get to, because we're so busy in the weeds with all these little things that are not our superpowers and or don't light us up. So it's social media, it's meeting with and working through proposals right now for PR. And we've done professional PR in the past, and we had taken a break from it, and we're, kind of looking around going, you know what, that's the level we want to be at. So that's the level we need to play into. So it's investing in ourselves again. All those things.
It came up in the accountability session for Luann Live. If you were an early bird registrant, then you were invited to 3 accountability sessions with me at 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and 6 weeks. And it came up, I believe, in the first accountability session. And it was one of the newer designers said, how do you know when it's time to invest in your business? And I'm like, day one, it's time. Like day one, like start. Like look, you can take 1 year to get something. You can take 5 years to get to somewhere. You can take 10 years. But anytime you look around and you see who can do something better than you, if you can pay them to do it, you're just going to get that thing is going to get mastered that much faster, right?
Oh, exactly. That's the analogy I use every time is I see the standard as a literal, like I'm handing you the javelin and you are going to catapult your business forward.
Right.
I'm handing you 15 years of experience of having already worked out the kinks, figured out the right way to say it so that it lands beautifully, figuring out exactly what needs to go into this request for quote so that all the details are there and it's not 500 emails back and forth to get to a point of clarity. It's all the things.
Mm.
And it's really, that's the big idea is when you're ready, it's going to be a big old push. And we have had, I shouldn't even come on these shows anymore, Luann. I should just send you a couple of alumni. That's what we'll do next time.
Yes. Good idea,
See,
actually.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next time we do this, I'm going to let them speak for themselves because they bring me to tears, and I'm not a crier. Happy tears. So it is just incredible to listen to these business owners, new business owners who are leaving corporate jobs because they finally feel that they have it. They have the business structure, they have the confidence, they are ready. I literally just had a designer say, I'm leaving my corporate career. The standard has given me the confidence to completely go out on my own. I'm ready.
Wow.
It's like, oh my gosh. So, and then we've had 30-year veterans and we've had 5 years in and they feel like they're, catapulted forward. So the feedback from the designers that have taken it has been mind-blowing, as we intended it to be, and it really is showing them that they're running a firm that's 10 years ahead of where they were, no matter.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true because, even when you say that one line, how do you put out the information in order to get an accurate quote without 15 emails? You just hit my pain point right there, right? It's like, 19 million designers at WindowWorks, thankfully, that we're working with. And I'm so thrilled and so grateful. But, I almost want to buy the standard for every one of them, really. And just say, here, because.
What if you tried it like this?
Yeah, because it's funny. And a lot of times you just don't know what you don't know, right? And it usually the principal might know, but they task a junior or an assistant to say, go get me a window treatment quote for this project. And that junior or assistant really doesn't have the skill set. One of my designers that I've worked with for going on 30 years now, and she always does huge projects, and she has a new assistant, and she's the first time we're doing a project with this assistant running it. And she actually insisted that I come and do the project. Can you imagine? And I actually did it. And I was like, okay. But I said, I'm not running point. Kimberly is point. Okay. And she's like, no, I really need you to come out. I'm like, okay, here we go. Right. But the thing was, I get out there, and I hadn't seen her in a couple of years, and it was great. And I get out there, and she's telling me how terrific this assistant is, really what a great hire, and she's so on top of it, and I'm thrilled for her. And now I'm watching the emails, and I'm like, yeah, but she has no idea the information that we need to get her a proper quote. And it's like, and I finally stopped. I finally stopped right there. I put the brakes on, and I said, I'm going to give you this template. This is all the information I need for the 28 rooms that you want drapery quotes on. Get me all of this, and then come back and ask me how fast I can do it, because I've now 5 emails back and forth trying to trickle the information out that I need to create the quote, right?
Absolutely. And
waste of time.
Yeah, and that's the nature of interior design, right? Your pain point is exactly what we deal with, but then we have to layer in plumbing, electrical, custom upholstery, custom case goods, cabinetry, kitchen layouts, this, it's a very detailed and wide industry that we play in. And so it takes 10 years, 5 years, or working for someone amazing to learn all those nuances, to understand that you need to ask, does the drain come with the faucet? Because it doesn't always, but it does sometimes. So those are the things that, it's a lot of detail. And so if you're looking at a blank sheet of paper and you're just whipping off, okay, panels in here, roller shades in there. Oh, no, no.
Right.
But there's so much more to discuss.
Yes. And so in the standard, these are all included. Here's the information you need when you're getting plumbing pricing and drapery pricing and all the things. And it is, I mean, just that alone, like I almost feel like I want to buy, just those for the window part. Like, can I just give this to all?
Exactly.
Right.
Send it out to all the window treatment people.
Yeah, because it just does make everyone's life easier. All the information is in one spot. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're getting a millwork quote, you're getting whatever, and what a tremendous just even learning tool for. Look, this is why I know that your product, the interior design standard, is a good product for whether you're in business 5, 10, or 20 years or 1 year, because even if as the principal you already know that, but you haven't ever had the time in your business to go back and create the template for the request for quote on this myriad of products, it's in your head. But your junior, like this woman, 35 years experience, and this junior's running around and creating chaos in the middle of it. And if she had templates, she'd be like, here, Miss Junior Assistant, who's a rock star and is going to chase down the information, but get it right the first time in this way. And that's included in the standard, right?
Yep. Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So, I'm going to hit you with this. You're not being forewarned, but I have had designers tell me that they've taken the course. This breaks my heart. It makes me have a pit in my stomach, but have taken the course, and then, as much as they love it, as much as they see it, they get it, have not taken the step to then implement it into their system. It's like having, that treadmill that you hang your clothes on.
Right. Well, and implementation is key, right? I mean, to know what you should be doing but not do it is really, really tough. It's a big part of anything, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. We have treadmills all over the place and everything. Yes, everything.
Exactly. We go to a conference and we don't necessarily, implement. So one of the things that we're doing differently this launch is we're rolling out the content 1 week at a time with a live Q&A session in our private Facebook group. With the intention of pacing it a little bit more and creating community around progress, because we're in the same boat. We want to see people implement it and actually use it. We also know that Elite Design Assistants has been tasked with implementing the standard for other designers. And so they are a really interesting resource if you don't know about them already.
Jenny Madden was talking about them recently.
Yes. Yeah. So they're great. Danae over at Elite, she is wonderful. And she has a couple of assistants who have already helped designers implement the interior design standard. So that's a great way to take on some freelance work. Again, hire an expert, go find someone who already implemented this program, and again, use that catapult and move that business forward in a really great way.
So I'm glad, it's funny because I said I didn't prepare you for that, and I knew it was a pain point, and I'm glad that you have come up with a workaround for it because, Luann University is only at this point in time live taught classes, 6 weeks, an hour and 15 minutes each week, the forum for the discussions, for the exact reason of getting results, of making sure that you just don't learn, Kat Anderson's, Design Build 201, and it sits there and you don't work on it. And so I'm so glad that you have implemented this change because look, there's 8 out of 10 people are going to drop this kind of money and they're going to do the work, but there's 2 that won't. And those 2, we want them to have the value too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But, I think that's one of the things is, we're looking for people that are really motivated to up level and we want to see them succeed. And so we're going to do everything that we can. We also offer lifetime memberships. So anytime you're a standard member, you can always go back through the launch. And so this time, we really welcome anyone from the first 2 launches to come back with us through the weekly launches.
That's great.
And yeah, go through it again, get that excitement, get that drive, get the reminder, and then, really kind of reinvigorate.
I love that too, because so what you're saying is if I happen to buy into it last April or I bought it in last September, and maybe I have put some of it into motion, maybe I've put none of it into motion, maybe I've put all of it into motion, but I just want to be part of the community, I can come back now with this launch and be part of that live weekly Q&A and the feeding it all of it out. And I expect that it's okay that my juniors are part of this, right? Like my whole team can be here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are keeping the lives in the current classes Facebook community group, not in the alumni, but we'll have them replay to the alumni group so that they can see it. But we really want the current class to be the ones asking questions
Makes
and
sense.
building that community because they really kind of go through it. I joke like a pledge class, like they bond together if they're
Yes.
present in the group and go through it together. But we're sharing those lives with the alumni, of course. But yeah, they can go through it at the same time, and then the alumni are all in their own private Facebook group, so they can have their own momentum while we go through it as well.
That's also well thought out. We do the same at Luann University too. It's like,
Mhm.
your class is your class. Because I'm sure you've noticed it too. Many designers find a colleague in that class that they really just gel with, and then they take that relationship beyond the design standard, and now they have an accountability partner. They've got a buddy that they can call and reach out and so forth. And then when you go to the alumni group, then it's open, but that first class bonds together always, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's really great. It's
Very
incredible.
good. Very good. So, what are some of the, to me as a window treatment professional, like that whole packet of all the templates for all those different specifications is gold. What are some of the other things that you have heard from the designers that have taken the standard, Sandra, that are like this was a game changer, this was my favorite part or something?
So it's the real crux of it is it all ties together, but the real crux of it is our design agreement is the business structure, the process, the timing, the language around, how we charge, the boundaries around a flat fee model, all the things. And so that's where it really it's the core of the program is that design agreement. And
Mm.
then from that, the we have an Asana template that they can just click download and literally bring into their business.
Mm.
And that walks you through and dovetails with that design agreement. So everything that you've promised the client is now in front of you to just do step by step by step.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah, that part is just that's what took us the year and a half to create it because we really needed it to be like click download. We did not want this to be a cumbersome, heavy thing to have to implement. We really wanted to make it as smooth as possible.
Mm.
Um, but I would say the number one thing that people love once they get it in their brain is the flat fee calculator and the budget calculator. Um, Once I teach them how to use their data and how to use all of the information that they have at their fingertips to get to a flat fee that they absolutely 100% feel confident in, they are soaring. Like
Mm.
it is so exciting to hear in the Facebook groups, like I just signed my flat fee client, like, just incredible.
And what I did I hear in there that it is unique to each designer. In other words, you're not saying this is the flat fee calculations I plug into this, you do the same. You're asking them to either share with you the data or you're telling them what data to go get, and then they're going to base their flat fee calculations on their data. It's not universal designer to designer.
Correct. And it can't be. That
Right.
would be price setting. It would be illegal. There would be a lot of problems.
I
And
didn't think about
it,
any of that.
and it wouldn't work because my overhead is different than your
Right,
overhead.
that's the
My
thing.
level of design, my level of, the product that I source is different than the level of the product that someone else sources, et cetera. So none of that would work, which is another big part of it is we had to work backwards into, setting up what we call a wealth manifestation spreadsheet, but it's really your budget, but we flipped it. So instead of putting in all your expenses and in what you expect to make and seeing what number you end up with at the end, we flip the calculation where you put in what you want to make and it helps you back into what you need to charge and how you need to make it work. And so some of those variables are, your fees, and then of course your margins.
I love
And
it.
it really demonstrates how, if you stay in the giveaway culture, you will also stay a starving artist. So yeah,
Mm.
it's just a really good example of, if you stay doing that 35% markup thing, it's really hard to get to a real serious scale when it comes to income.
And the thing of what it is what you know is that there's no reason to stay at that 35% markup. That's the point.
Damn straight.
Right. I mean, we saw that in our mastermind group, right? We had, 6 or 7 of you ladies, all rock stars, all from different parts of the country. And, what did we have? We had the one example where I think 5 of the 6 of you were charging a specific markup on tile, and one of you was much lower. And literally the next job, she raised her markup on tile, and I feel like it resulted, the number was $17,000 in income on that next job, like additional income. And I was like, there's mastermind price paid. Like, stop, right? I mean,
Exactly.
and that's the gift that keeps giving. And remember, we're talking about seasoned business owners here, and she, that designer was not resistant to do it. She literally went, wait, 5 of the 6 of you are doing this markup on tile. Okay, we're putting that calculation in tomorrow. She took action, and she literally calculated, maybe it was 17,000 over the next quarter that it was going to make the difference in her business. I don't remember what it was, but it was when you see something that's working and you understand how and why it's working, and you accept that the person who's teaching it to you has credibility and knows what they're talking about, to not make that move is crazy, right?
Oh, absolutely. And so often I think there's this old record playing in people's heads,
Mm.
and all you need to do is tell yourself that's old, and let me get into a community with people, like the mastermind. Let me have a conversation with my peers about what's working for them, and what are some benchmarks, and what are the metrics, and how is this, why am I lagging behind here? What
Mm-hmm.
is this? Is this mindset? Is this just I didn't know? Whatever it is, address it
Mm-hmm.
and level up your business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love that you pointed out that the reason that the flat fee calculator has to be different for every designer is in that little nuance there, like you said, is the different levels of products that you source at the different levels of your career or your demographic of clients, wherever that is, and whatever those reasons are, it is true. So, all of the products in a room designed by Nate Berkus are not necessarily going to be the same kind of price points in a product in a room designed by, say, Barclay Butera, right? Like, even those 2 guys, major iconic guys, not good or one better than the other, but they have their go-tos, just like you do, and just like, anybody does. Tracy Connell does, Kat Anderson does, right? And
Yep.
that's where your flat fee calculator is so helpful, because you take the designer on the journey of what is it that you do, that you're comfortable doing, that you consistently know you can sell. This is the price point you like. These are the products you like. These are the vendors you like. And base your information on your real data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's incredible because then they can see, it's not like if you have a good referral, you've got a good local audience at the price point that you're working in currently, you can make that profitable, right? You don't
Right.
have to. Everyone doesn't have to be competing for the Nate Berkus client.
Right.
We can all exist wherever we are, but we just need to face those numbers head on and calculate what would make this profitable for me, what would get me to my goal, and then go forth, right? It's like so much of that.
Well, and that's a good thing to point out, because someone shouldn't be intimidated thinking, "Oh, Sandra Funk, luxury designer, working with the top people in New York, whatever, blah blah blah. That's not my crowd yet. I'm not at that point, or I have no desire to work in that lane, right?" So they shouldn't be intimidated, because this isn't run House of Funk. This is the systems that runs House of Funk, but you apply your own personality and your own clients and your own information to these templates and these processes, right?
Correct. And even your own price points.
Right.
Exactly.
Right, right, right,
Exactly.
right, right. Okay, now I have no idea. Again, I'm thinking, man, I keep hitting her with these questions that she has no idea are coming. But if somebody said, having all those email templates on exactly how to say to a client, no, sir, no, ma'am, you will pay me before we arrive or we're not coming. Because I know those are part of the email templates because we
Yes.
talked about that in the last episode, right? So maybe I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I would love those. I would love all those spec templates. I would love a lot of this, but I am not going to do a flat fee service. I don't care who says what to me about it. I want to stay on whatever model I have, an hourly or whatever it is. Is there, it seems to me, there's still enough value, not even just like, oh, there's a little value left over. Or is it, Sandra, no, like if you're really not open to a flat fee thing, then all the bells and whistles don't pop and go together, or do they? How does that work?
So because it's the entire template of running the firm, right?
Right.
So while the flat fee calculator and the language around the boundaries with that and everything is really important and valuable, it's not a no-go if you are 100% committed to doing hourly. Like you said, there's still 1,000 things that work for you.
Right.
And when it really comes down to it, the big conversation that we have is even if you're doing hourly, you are going to need to give an estimate of what you think it's going to take to do the job. So you can use the flat fee calculator to calculate your estimates. And you
Perfect.
can use the boundaries to say, you can still use all the boundaries, all the language, all the templates, everything else about it. So it definitely is a possibility to it's not one way or the highway and the whole thing crumbles if you don't want to do flat fee.
Right. I had expected that to be the answer, and I want to emphasize that because what I want to emphasize is even look in the designers that I work with in the coaching situations, even when they are hourly, I'm consistently saying to them, I'm just a typical consumer. And if you think for 1 second I'm going to start any kind of project with you without any sort of idea of what I can expect to spend on your hourly by the time you're done, you're out of your mind. Like, I'm not just going to okay, let's just see where this goes. Maybe it takes 1 hour. Maybe it takes 50 hours. It's like, you have to give me a benchmark on this. And as we go through the project, I'm a rational person. If you point out to me, that's the 15th time you've made me reselect the sofa, just say to me, this is bumping your hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm a smart lady. I'll get that. But you can't expect me to do even a one-room redecoration, like the most basic. Like, I want paint, carpet. I don't even want a major project. You cannot say to me, it's going to be by the hour, but I don't know how many hours it is. You must guess it for me, or I'm not signing anything with you. There's no way, right? So the thing is that, to your point, even if a designer is really, because I've had many interviews here where they've said, I used to do this, I used to do that, and now they're just like feet in this, in the mud. I'm not going to change, but it's still that tool for saying to that consumer, we're going to do it by the hour. And I would say, project this project out to be between 45 and 60 hours. And as we go each week, whatever it is, I'll keep you updated, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I would just point out those boundaries that are in our flat fee would be the assumptions then that go into that estimate. So it's just switching your language around a little bit.
Right. I mean, I think have you noticed that with the newer designers that you've worked with over the last few years, Sandra, that just keeps surfacing again in the conversations that I have, that there's not clarity on how to quantify what they expect the hours to be. And so that then they want to just get started, but they don't understand why the client is resistant and they're not getting the job. And the thing is, not every client's going to just look at you straight out like I'm going to say and say, unless you guess some hours, I'm not doing this. Like, I would just do that, right? But some people just be like, well, I think we decided to go in a different direction. We hired somebody else. And I'm like, that's code for somebody answered their questions.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, and clarity is power, right?
Right.
So giving your clients the clarity empowers them to hire you. Like, you have to give them they need to build up their trust and confidence in you. And when they know upfront what's coming, timeline wise, budget wise, boundary wise, right? They can have more confidence in you because you're very, very clear. And I know you have always been like that because you are just a straight talking person, which is why I love you so much. But it doesn't come naturally to a lot of
Right.
people. So
Right.
I give them a lot of that language and a lot of that backup so that they can like lean on that language around that clarity. It's a
Mm.
big, big part of it. It's so funny. We were talking about joy and efficiency, joy and efficiency, joy and efficiency when we did our first 2 launches. And I said to Sarah, my partner in crime with the Standard, I said, we have to start talking about confidence because it is the number one result that we hear about
Mm.
from Standard members, that
Mm.
they now have the confidence to go out there and to land these bigger projects and to, you know, get paid what they're worth, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. So
Well, it also came up in the Zoom accountability sessions as well. It was, how do you get the confidence? They said, how do you get to that? And the truth is, it's on one hand, it's funny because it's the whole premise of your show today is you can do it the long way and you will get there because you will make every mistake. Like I has on my website, an expert is a person who's made every mistake in their field. Like that's me. I'm 40 years I've made. And by the way, I'm going to make another one tomorrow. Take it to the bank, right? But you can either like people say to me, "Oh, how can you?" I'm like, I've been like falling down and getting up for 40 years here. Like it's not a minute, right? And so, but the thing is, to your point with up leveling with courses or mentors or experts, is you can make the mistake yourself, everyone, and in 10 or 15 years, you'll stand in your Sandra Funk space and be confident, right? Or
yes.
you can do something like the Standard, and really it's like, it's just a shortcut because when you know what you're doing works and when you know what you're doing you can back it up with a really firm process. That's the moment that you're just it's think about making any recipe you've ever made before. If
Mm-hmm.
you've made, pasta vazul 15,000 times, you don't need to pull out the recipe book. You just make a great pasta vazul and everybody in your house goes, "Oh my God, your pasta vazul is the best ever." Right? But like I make it with my eye closed. Little of this, little of that. My daughter, she wanted the recipe. She's like, "There's no amounts." I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta feel it." Like, you gotta do it enough, right? Or
Right.
I could have had the exact recipe, which no longer exists. It's just in my brain, right? But that's the analogy, right? It's like if I don't know it exactly, I can't teach it to you. But if I do know it exactly, I can teach it to you, and then you can do it perfect the right time, first time,
And
right?
then you can scale,
That's
right?
right.
So like you could, if you felt so inclined to write down every step of the beautiful dish that you're making, you could turn around and have a little army of minions making
That's right.
bucket loads of that. And that's what it's about. It's about scale. So, it's like it's kind of that thing, the right process, the repeatable process, and then the scalable process. And
Yeah.
that's really where people start to see the businesses change.
Mm. And I love to just point out the distinction here of having this and it giving you the ability to scale really doesn't mean your desire is only to scale big, 5, 6, 8 people on your team. It could be to just know that when you onboard one assistant, I've met many designers, they have no desire. We just had Genevieve Trousdale a week or two ago on the podcast, only does super 10% up luxury clients, but has no desire to scale. But her back end is so systemized. Not only did I learn what I learned on air, but my off-air conversation with her. And she said, this enables me to do this luxury clientele, to work with this luxury clientele, to deliver this exceptional experience at this level and not have to have a team of employees because I know how I do it and how it gets done. And if I do want an assistant here and there to onboard when I get when I get bigger, when I have more projects at a time, maybe they overlap, the process is there. It's not now nobody's going to do it the way I do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I heard that interview and I was loving it because it doesn't have to mean scale, doesn't have to mean payroll and all the headaches that go with that
Right.
if that's not what you want.
Right.
Scale can mean now you're not waking up in the middle of the night going, "Oh no, did I request a CFA? Oh God, did I take the wrong dimension on that thing?" Like it's you kind of like, even if it's just you managing your own projects, it's
Yeah.
knowing that nothing is slipping through the cracks and then moving faster because there's a lot of inefficiency with going, okay, what's next?
Right.
Instead of just following the process that is in front of you and just go step by step by step.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. So, okay. So April 21st to April 28th, 2021. So you can only sign up during this window. And you sign up by going where, Sandra?
houseoffunk.com/trade will take you there.
Okay. houseoffunk.com/trade. That's interesting. That's a new, I thought it was something different. I thought it was the interior design standard or something.
That houseoffunk.com trade redirects you to interiordesignstandard.com.
Oh,
That's just longer.
Yes. And House of Funk is easier to remember.
It's just more memorable. So
Yes.
I always say it that way. But
Okay.
they go to the same location.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So houseoffunk.com, and then when you get there, or you can just do /trade, or look at me confusing this. Okay.
No, /trade, or you can just go to houseoffunk.com and upper right corner is a trade button. And
Okay.
it moves right over.
Sometimes, Luann. Okay. All right. Awesome. I love it. It's so good. Do we want to say the price? May as well get them off the ledge and let's let them know.
Yes. Do I know the price? $38.98 is the price for the interior design standard.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the other things I wanted to tell you was talking about how do you get the confidence. It's so funny. We hear that all the time with designers before they've ordered, purchased the standard. And so we're actually doing a master class, and it's called 3 Strategies for Interior Designers to Stand in Your Space, because it goes all the way back to that first conversation you and I had on my first podcast with you.
Yeah.
And it's all standing in your space is all about having your business so locked down that you wouldn't even consider wavering, right?
That's it.
That's it.
That is it. That is it. And that is the magic right there. When you have done it and you know you can do it and you know that you will do it well and you are not the tiniest bit unclear about your capabilities, now you will not discount. You will not take an hour off of an invoice. You will not bill something. You will not make your markup. It's like, that's the confidence right there. I know I can do this.
Exactly.
Love it.
Oh, that just gives me chills, because that was, how long ago was that? Your third interview?
Oh my God,
something?
that was 5.5 years ago, 5 and 3
Crazy.
months ago, something like that. I know. So I want to say that interview, I think it was 2. I think you were number 2, not number 3. Yeah.
Yep.
That interview, for you listening, if you have not heard that number 2 interview, don't listen to me. I probably did a horrible job, but Sandra did a great job. I hate to send people back to the first interviews. But have always gotten, that was the pivotal interview for Sarah Brennan. She was like, she said to me, I must have listened to that interview 5, 6, 8, 10 times in the first year I was in business. She said, wow. I just kept going back to it and really getting, and to your point at the top of the show, of a different nugget each time. And so that was a good one. And then the 145, number 145, we talked about when you rebranded after 10 years in business and you pulled everything down and built it back up again. And then 520 and 585, both of these interviews had a lot to do with the standard. One was announcing the first launch, and the other was the second launch. And so those are good interviews if you're thinking, okay, they talked about the standard, but I need to know more. So you could listen to those, because we talked about different aspects of the standard in those. And of course, you want to head over to houseoffunk.com and go to that trade button on the upper right-hand side. So awesome. I love you, lady. You know that.
I love you too. Thank you so much, always. And there's no possible way that first interview that we did together wasn't just as killer as the one you just did right now. We all know it.
I'll never listen to it to find out. So.
No, good.
All right. You have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.